We all know that archery is a very mental sport and it requires a lot of mental acuity in order to be successful. So in this video, I'm going to give you the very basic starting blocks on mindfulness to actually start building your mental program. Ultimately, we're just going to go over a very basic exercise practicing mindfulness, and it'll get you started off on the right foot in archery. So while living at the Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista, California for 6 years, training there professionally underneath the, most, I guess, advanced type of guidance that is available, not just in technical form and nutrition and sports science and all those kind of things, also including sports psychologists, working with them to develop a mental program, a mental plan, and how to approach archery in the healthiest way possible, and ultimately helping enhance performance. So the very basic thing to be aware of in archery is just mindfulness. Mindfulness in a nutshell is just being aware of everything that you're doing and thinking, and not judging yourself based on what you perceive. So basically, it's just being able to recognize in the moment what is actually happening, what you're thinking, and then ultimately being able to redirect your thoughts into a healthy manner in a way that helps with archery performance. For me, a very good example as to how important mindfulness is, put yourself in a scenario where you're at a tournament and all of a sudden you see a squall, a line of thunderstorms coming across the field, barreling down from the left side of the field, headed towards the right side of the field, and you can tell it's just about to hit the fan. You know that the weather is really turning sour, heavy winds are coming, lots of rain, potential lightning, and delays are imminent. So what do you do when that happens? And how you handle yourself when that happens? That is mindfulness. Do you break down and panic because you never shoot good in the wind and now the wind's picking up and you start freaking out about it? You complain that your arrows are drifting more than other people's. You're worried about your tab getting wet instead of just taking steps to make sure you do anything and everything you can to control yourself as best as possible. So instead of freaking out when you see potential or imminent, souring of the weather coming, use that as a reminder to fix whatever's going on or to make something better. So for example, when the wind's really ripping, instead of me freaking out and complaining about it, I use that as a reminder to make sure my bow arm is extra strong and to make sure my timing is really consistent and a bit more aggressive. Why? Is because I know that if you don't have a strong bow arm and the wind's blowing, good luck. And if your timing isn't consistent and it isn't aggressive when you can get the shot off, the gusts are going to come and catch you and punish you way more than a little bit hurried, quote-unquote, timing sequence to speed up the shot, to add a bit of aggressiveness, a bit of sense of urgency to the shot. And that's how I use mindfulness to enhance my shooting skill set. And you can do it very simply, and it's not very difficult. All that you do is you basically just practice awareness of what is going on with your thoughts, and then, without judgment, bring it back to whatever is important. So for this exercise, you can sit down, you can stand, you can do whatever, and just follow along with me in a very basic, simple exercise of practicing mindfulness. And so what you want to do is you essentially can close your eyes if you want to. It really helps if you haven't done this before to close your eyes. And what you want to do is just focus on your breath. Focus on either the rising and the falling of your stomach, if you're a diaphragm breather, your chest rising and falling, the air moving in and out of your nose, whatever you want to think about, maybe in through your mouth, I don't know. And you just want to think about your breath and just breathe. And just think about your breath. And just like me, when your thoughts drift to the cicadas, you don't judge yourself, you don't get angry, you don't get harsh, you just bring it back to your breath. And you again focus more on the rising and the falling of your hands, the air moving in and out of your nose. And instead of thinking about, man, I look really dumb on camera right now, standing here breathing with my eyes closed, I'm going to ignore that. And all I'm going to do is think about my breath. And you just do that for a very short period of time. Try to do that for 30 seconds at the start. Try to do that for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. You don't really need to do it much longer than that. And 5 minutes is even too long. Just sit there for a few minutes and you just focus on your breath and only on your breath. You will notice that your mind will drift often, and it will continue to drift. It will never stop. The mind drifts like, I can't remember, it's like 47+% of the time your average human's brain has drifting thoughts that are not of the task at hand. So it's normal to have that kind of level of distraction. But what is not healthy is a level of judgment. You don't want to be harsh on yourself and say, I'm stupid, I keep thinking about something else, what's wrong with me? You know, the wind's coming, the wind's coming, the wind's coming, my bow just broke, or my brace height's off, or whatever. Refocus, fix what is wrong, control what you can, and just push forward. Do the same thing and just hit it with methodical, repeated practice. And being able to recognize when your thoughts drift, when your patterns drift, when you forget to do steps, when you're not focusing as much as you should be, when you're listening to somebody's conversation behind you instead of focusing at that arrow that is in the bow pointed down range. Whatever it is, don't allow so many distracting thoughts, and do your best to control them after you recognize that you are having drifting thoughts or something's going on that is taking you off task. That is the most basic thing that you can start with when developing a mental plan or a mental program and applying it to archery. Mindfulness is the way to start. It is the simplest and easiest thing to practice to start with, and just being aware of different thoughts that come into your brain during different scenarios will allow you to recognize, if you don't judge yourself harshly, to be able to make those adjustments and bring it back to square one. The name of the game at the highest level is to keep it simple, to focus on the process, not the outcome, and really just do what you can to control with what you are able to control. So don't focus on the potential outcome, don't focus on what your opponent shot or anything else. All you do is you focus on the task at hand, do your job, hit your marks, and don't do anything else. You don't necessarily even have to do anything fancy or different or challenging. All it's got to be is the same thing over and over again. And being able to be aware when your thoughts drift, being able to bring them back to the task at hand, to the process, is absolutely what I do and what the top archers in the world do.